Why? A body that is designed for perfection starts to fail. For many years, we were consistently told that this was simply the passage of time, and that it was also something completely irreversible. I'm telling you now that we were deceived. The problem isn't time. Without a doubt, it has an influence. The problem lies in the lack of communication between the various essential parts of our body. And what happens then? That problem ends up resulting in a lack of regulation. If there is no communication, then in the end, the body doesn't regulate itself properly on the inside. And our body, which is a tool of extremely high perfection and precision, needs each of us to simply not sabotage it without realizing it. Now let's look back one last time and go through the videos in this series that we've been making and that I've been presenting to you, but let's do it with the peace of someone who already understands the game. What we've built in this series is ultimately and definitively a doctrinal body. And now you already know that nothing happens in your body by chance. Deterioration follows a perfect and undeniable chain of causality, which we've carefully tried to map out in the different videos we've presented. In the very first one, I explained how it all initially started with the fundamental spark of DNA. That is to say, the gradual loss of vital information. In the second, I explained how that stopped or began to stop the machinery, which are the mitochondria. In the third, I explained how the failure attracted the fire, inflammation or chronic inflammation, chronic. In the fourth, how that fire, what it did was cause ruins, that is the typical diseases of aging. And in the fifth, all of this was possible due to the lack of electrical conductivity in our body, our living water battery. In short, nothing happens in isolation. Everything is a chain. And today, you already have the map of that chain in your hands. You have stopped being a spectator of your own decline and have become an expert in your own biology, or rather, an expert in your own biology. And that, my dear friend and viewer, is truly the first and most significant step toward your ultimate personal freedom, without a doubt. In the previous video, I made a big revelation to you. We are not just a simple chemical machine, a kind of intricate tool that merely moves because it consumes fuel, and that essential consumption allows it to act and perform its various functions. I have previously explained to you in detail how our amazing human body is actually a truly magnificent and complex battery, fundamentally functioning as an incredibly sophisticated electro-hydraulic system, constantly working to maintain our vital processes. And I revealed to you how our own internal water, the one that flows through our body, is not like the water you drink. It is a type of water that transforms inside your body, to the point of becoming a true battery that turns into the source of voltage for our life. Well then, in the midst of all this set of information, and also consider the entirety of this vast collection of debris we've been observing and documenting, many of which were quite possibly entirely unknown to you until now. For you, I revealed a great weapon of defense that remains hidden from many. And you might ask me, for whom? Well, for all those who don't do what you're doing, that is, learning how your body works. And that precisely that is the best weapon for your defense. You already have proof that our body, on the one hand, has not lost the war, and on the other, you also have evidence that a large part of the problems once attributed to irreversibility can be solved. They're just regulation problems. You have to understand, and I'm sure you already have, that we are not just a machine made of flesh that burns fuel, but rather we are a true electro-hydraulic system. and that is truly something essential because that is the flow of life. And it tells you that even the flow of blood doesn't depend on the heartbeat, on the heart and its strength, as we've been led to believe all our lives, but rather it depends on much more. It depends on the electrical structure of the water that floods your body. On the other hand, I've also reviewed with you how science confirms something that has completely changed the way we analyze aging. We've talked about how factors like the environment, emotions, stress, even our entire life narrative, the very way we meticulously tell these profound things to ourselves, is not just some abstract theoretical idea. These are in fact real, tangible biological commands that directly and powerfully influence our epigenetics, that is to say, the precise expression of absolutely key genes, such as FOXP3, which we have previously discussed in detail, and ultimately our true fundamental immune balance and overall well-being. With this, we've closed the major narrative arc of the series from DNA to human dignity, which is what we'll be talking about in this video. And for many, I am absolutely sure that this arduous journey would have been the definitive end, something akin to a direct, unavoidable highway leading straight to the inevitable conclusion. But for both you and me, this is merely the initial process of diligently clearing away the accumulated rubble and debris, because as of today, we are no longer just going to simply talk about fragmented, broken molecules or debilitating chronic diseases. Today, with renewed purpose, we are going to profoundly discuss and explore the singular, most powerful thing that possesses the incredible ability to truly raise a magnificent house from its very ashes, restoring it completely. Today we're going to talk about dignity, human dignity, the thing that makes us different from the rest of living beings. Me. I decided to rebuild mine, and there was a moment when I understood that my biology was not a destiny. In other words, I wasn't doomed to decrepitude, but rather faced with a responsibility. And that, my friends, is precisely why I am standing here. But not, I assure you, to give you a lengthy lesson in complex medicine, far from it. Instead, my true purpose is to earnestly invite you once and for all to become the ultimate architect of your own life. Now we can clearly see the light. All that truly remains is to allow it to fully enter and embrace us. For decades, science told us that DNA was like a kind of life sentence. I'm sure more than one person has told you, if your father had this, or your grandmother, or your mother, you'll have it. They made us believe that we were slaves to an inheritance. And today we know very well that that is not true and that it has never been true. Your DNA is an intricate musical score in every cell of your body, where you interpret and express the music, which is the fascinating field science calls epigenetics, the intricate blueprint of life. Do you think that your genome, it's something like a piano with 25,000 keys? It's there, and so are the keys. All of them. But the pianist who plays that piano is you. With every single thought, with every single breath, every time you consciously decide to expose yourself to the sun's beneficial rays or carefully add essential mineral salt to your drinking water to significantly improve your vital electrolyte levels, you are pressing a key. You are actively deciding which specific genes are turned on and which ones remain completely silent, influencing cellular functions. I told you about the importance of rebuilding muscle in your body as well, and of thinking not just about walking, getting your 10,000 steps a day, but also and especially about doing strength exercises. And do you know why I insist so much that you do it? It's not for aesthetics, so that when you go to the beach you show off a great body. Regardless of your age, no. It's because when your muscles work under pressure, that is when you make them lift weight, they're sending an urgent telegram to your genes telling them, I'm still here, I'm alive, I'm still needed, don't shut me down, because they will shut you down if you don't do it. The muscle, thank you. It's the language you use to talk to your DNA to tell it exactly that. You still have a mission to fulfill, and your DNA will respect that. But also pay attention, because this is like those flashlights with square batteries we used when we were kids. You could put in the newest, most powerful battery on the market, but if the spring on the flashlight cover was rusty or the wire was loose, the bulb wouldn't give off even a thread of light more than once. I'm sure that's happened to you. Well, in your body, those springs, those wires, are the electrolytes. Iodized salt, mineral salt, potassium, magnesium. They're not boring supplements, they're real copper wires that allow your energy to flow through your body. And without them, no matter how good a pianist you are, no matter how much you want to play the best melody, the message won't reach the keys because there's no connectivity. Do you ever feel that sensation that your brain, when you wake up in the morning, it's like it doesn't get going, like when it's hard to start up? That's not because you're old or getting older. It's probably because your internal wires don't have a good connection. If you constantly drink dead water, the kind that comes out of the tap, processed and with chlorine or so-called purified water, which is lifeless water, that's like trying to light a fire with wet wood. What are you going to achieve? All you're going to get is smoke, and you'll dampen the spark, your own spark. However, when you hydrate consciously, truly aware of how important electrolytes are in your current life, and when you put your bare feet on the earth, and when you let the sun recharge you, because it does what you're doing, it's basically like cleaning those rusty battery terminals of the flashlight. What you're doing is also restoring the voltage to your body, and in this way, you are finally strengthening your own dignity. The chemistry of medications can't save a house if the circuit breakers have tripped. We need to turn on the brilliant lights of the magnificent cathedral, that is, your very own precious body, that incredible marvel of divine creation, so that you, the skilled pianist, can once again clearly see the intricate notes and finally play the beautiful, harmonious song that most perfectly suits your unique and wonderful life. We finally reached the very end of this incredible journey, and here I truly want to, at this moment, speak to you directly from my heart to yours. Regaining your overall health and well-being isn't solely about looking good in a photograph or having people comment that you appear significantly younger. That's just pure vanity. And vanity, no matter how incredibly hard you truly try, also inevitably wrinkles with the passage of time. What we're truly seeking here is something deeply sacred for ourselves, for each of us, and that's precisely how you need to fully comprehend and understand it. We're searching for inherent dignity, your own personal dignity, my own cherished dignity. Do a small exercise. Close your eyes for a second. And just think about that warm, comforting hug that made you feel like the entire world was a safe and secure place, and that you were truly invincible. Or consider that breathtakingly beautiful sunrise by the shimmering sea when everything in your life seemed perfectly possible to you. Those moments are not just the past. What they are is also proof of what your body is capable of feeling, and they are also fuel for your future. Dignity is reaching 90 years old or more, 100, 110, or however many years God gives you, and still having the strength to recognize the scent of your grandchild. When they come running to hug you, it's when your mind truly remains that bright, clear, and serene place, a sanctuary where you carefully keep your most cherished and invaluable true treasures, and that it steadfastly stays precisely that way, perfectly preserved and untarnished until your very last, final breath. It's also not becoming a burdensome weight that others have to carry and struggle with, but instead truly being the steadfast refuge, the profoundly wise one, the guiding beacon where your beloved children and cherished friends can confidently seek illuminating light and profound understanding when they too are completely lost and deeply struggling in their own personal storms and challenging tribulations. Accepting pain is brave. It truly is. But resigning yourself, that is true death. And I refuse to let you believe that this is just the way life is. That living in ruins, forgetting who you were and who you can still become, is something normal. I refuse to let you accept that. And if today you truly feel utterly alone, that you have absolutely no one close to you at all, then please do it for the rest of the entire world. Because out there, in this vast world, there are literally thousands upon thousands of wonderful people who desperately need your bright guiding ray of light to keep shining brightly so they don't ever get lost in the darkness either. In the end, we are a community. Cheers. It is respect for the miracle that you are. And fundamentally, it is an act of personal sovereignty. It's saying to the world, with your back straight and your gaze clear, I'm still here and I'm still building memories and my home. My home is in order and open to those I hold in my heart. The technical diagnosis has now been successfully and fully complete. We have mapped the fire, the ruins, and the battery. Now you know the reason why, but don't lose sight of this very important thing. Knowledge without practical action is just like a dusty old library full of forgotten knowledge, serving no real purpose. In the next exciting series, Series 4, which is specifically called Beyond DNA, we will extensively focus on the fascinating pianist and their incredible journey. I will dive fully and comprehensively into the practical aspects of epigenetics and teach you precisely how to give the most effective and beneficial commands to your genes, how to thoroughly clear the ground of any obstacles, and how to effectively start the crucial process of reconstruction, brick by brick. The truth is, it hurts to see what has been burned. That's quite obvious, but it's also truly wonderful to fully realize that there is absolutely nothing more profoundly exciting than actually seeing how the very walls of a life that steadfastly refuses to completely fade away can be meticulously and carefully rebuilt, piece by painstaking piece. Here, the thorough inspection and subsequent reconstruction have now officially ended. Your vital reconstruction journey truly begins right now, at this very moment. I'm absolutely counting on you with all my trust, and you already know precisely what important message I always tell you. Forward, always forward, with unwavering determination. I'll read your comments.